What is up? It's your boy Johnny Shreve, IFBB Pro Metabolic. Today I'm bringing you something special. Evidence-based coaches and IFBB Pro coaches have come together and joined forces. I've gathered some insight from some of the greatest minds in the fitness industry. Guys like Dr. Mike Isertul, Eric Janicki, Eric Helms, Jeff Nippard, and of course yours truly, me. Together we've pinpointed some of the greatest exercise for each muscle group backed by science and years of experience. So if you're serious about growing some muscle, watch this video because guess what? I'm gonna give you guys tips and cues on how to perform each exercise correctly. So if you're serious about building muscle, stick around because this is the ultimate guide. Let's get into it. Okay, so how do we come up with this list? Well, a couple of things. Number one, it's gotta give us the most amount of muscle recruitment. We can definitely progressive overload it, and it's fairly easy to do with your basic training fundamentals and form. So when it comes to chest, we found that the machine press is the best exercise. And why? Well, a few things. Number one, we're in a machine where we have unilateral movement on both sides where we can get a deep stretch. Barbells, the chest gets in the way and then we can't get a deep stretch. Dumbbells are great to do and we get a good stretch, but when it comes to like the overall being safe and easy to do and being able to push everything into it without worrying about the dumbbells flying a certain way, the machine makes up for all the other exercises shortcomings. So with machine chest press, all you have to do is lay back, get your hands underneath the handles at nipple height, from floor to core, gauging your core, your glutes, chest nice to the air, and then pressing up. And while we're doing this exercise, we can really put everything into it, going all the way to failure, coming a couple reps from failure, but definitely getting an absolutely amazing stretch to the bottom and the full range of motion to the top. This is the best exercise overall for chest. Next up for back, we've all kind of agreed that the chest supported T-bar row or even the chest supported row is the best activator for your back. Why? Well, we're gonna get a great stretch in our lats, but we're also gonna include those other back thickness muscle groups as well too for the complete back workout or back exercise. So when you're doing T-bar row, the best thing about this is having the chest support, which allows gravity to naturally just take us completely off and stretching the scaps right open and then be able to pull all the way up and then completely retract your scaps for the best range of motion and coming all the way down for a nice long stretch and then up for a full contraction. Doing these alone is gonna still give us an unbelievable amount of stretch and activation with our lats. Even though we're in a chest support and thinking about doing, pull-ups or pull-downs, they're absolutely great. I'm not saying they're not. When it comes to the fullness of a great exercise that's gonna give you your best bang for your buck, the chest supported T-bar row or even the chest supported row is going to be your go-to for the best exercise for your back. When it comes to an absolutely amazing exercise for your quads, yes, leg extensions are good. Front foot elevated or lunges are good as well. When it comes to putting a great load on the quads, it being very easy to progressive overload and easy for everyone to do, the hack squat seems to be, it's one of the best exercises that we've came to agree with that is the best for quads. Getting yourself inside, we want to get the most amount of knee flexion. So keeping your chest up, elbows right in, not flaring out, but in, controlling the weight all the way down and getting a great amount of stretch. Now, if your machine bottoms out, we can fix this. Simply grabbing 2 yoga blocks, putting them underneath the pads, and putting them here will allow you to get a greater stretch at the bottom if your machine bottoms out. So again, keep your feet flat on the plate, toes and heels firmly on, externally rotating so our knees align with our toes, keeping your elbows in, not flaring out, and then coming down, stretching all the way down, nice stretch, and then driving up. And this is definitely the best exercise for building your quads. We can load the machine, progressive overload. We get an amazing range of motion. And again, it's fairly easy to do. When it comes to hamstrings, this is in my top as well, and it's been a lot of people's top tier list when it comes to hamstrings. The reason why RDLs aren't the best exercise, even though they're a really good exercise for hamstrings, is when we're doing knee flexion, that's when every one of our hamstring muscles are involved in the lift. So when we're doing RDLs, there's only a few of them that are actually being worked. So when we're doing seated hamstring curls, the entire hamstring is working. Plus, doing them seated, we're gonna get a way better stretch at the top and a great contraction at the bottom. So when you're doing these, Make sure that the pad's up high enough or close enough that we still get some room for our knees so this isn't getting in the way. You're gonna make sure that this pad stays right on the knees, above the knees, on the knees, pulling it down and squeezing it really hard so you're locked right in. A couple of things you can do. You can push yourself back like this while pulling the weight underneath and getting a full stretch, letting the hips come up a bit. Or if you want even greater stretch, we can pull ourselves in like this, almost like you're trying to stretch your hamstrings and then pull from here and stretching and coming up and pulling. And this, guys, feels absolutely wicked on the hamstrings. The entire range of motion, easy to progressive overload. We're in a machine, so everyone can do this fairly easily. Now it comes to the ultimate glute builder, squats are gonna take it every single time. Now, it doesn't have to be barbell squats, it doesn't have to be hack squats, but the reason why we're using super straight squats is because we don't have that scare factor, meaning we can go as hard as we want here in terms of like effort and intensity while pushing close to failure without worrying about the weights falling or safety issues like that. So from here, we can really focus on our form because the bar is on a fixed pathway and we can really get in and get all the way down, nice flexion, and its glutes are being active the entire time. The glutes are gonna get loaded the most and have the most hypertrophy being loaded vertically. If you wanna grow your glutes, suggest using the Swiss machine. Planning your workouts effectively can make a huge difference. One thing that really enhanced my planning is using Lumen, the world's first handheld metabolic coach. By measuring my metabolism through my breath, Lumen shows me if I'm burning fats or carbs, which is crucial for tailoring my nutrition and workouts. Before I train, I check my carb levels, and after, I ensure I'm refueling the right way to support muscle growth and fat burn. If you're looking to up your fitness game, go to lumen.me/Johnny or click the link below for 15% off your Lumen. It's a total game changer. Now, when it came to biceps, it seemed like there was a general consensus that we all agreed that incline dumbbell curls is the best exercise for biceps. Why? Well, because we're in a great position for absolutely amazing amount of stretch. And then even at the peak of this exercise, there's still tension on the bicep. So when you're doing these, from floor to core, head up, chest high to the sky, it's gonna stretch those bis even more, and then you're just bending at the elbow, controlling it up. Make sure you're keeping your hands supinated, palms to the ceiling the entire time. Even at the bottom, nice stretch, pushing your arms down, increasing that stretch, chest nice and high, and then, now it comes to exercise for shoulders, it was kind of a split. There was a split between doing overhead shoulder press and then leaning side laterals with a dumbbell or cables. And I decided that, you know what, we get a lot of anterior delts and a lot of our chest exercise we do. When it comes to isolating and hitting delts only, putting the cables up to around like waist height and then having a little bit of a lean, we're gonna get a great amount of stretch right from the start of this exercise. And then tension is gonna stay completely on the entire time. When you do overhead pressing, yes, for sure, 100%, we can get a good stretch at the bottom. When it comes to overhead pressing, well, if we're doing in the front, we're getting chest and anterior delt, not as much side delt. And if we're doing dumbbells, yeah, we're getting side delt too. When it comes to like loading even more, then we're getting that risk factor that's coming into play. When we're talking about doing side laterals with the dumbbell leaning or cables leaning, quite very safe from here. We can really just max out effort, finding a weight that's gonna exhaust the hell out of our shoulders without putting so much stress on the actual joint itself. So raising this up to around like, you know, thigh height or even to your waist, having a little bit of a lean and letting the weights come across either this way and coming out, or even from this way, getting a great stretch right from the start all the way. The entire range has tension. We can progressive overload in a great fashion in terms of just like small increments, just loading the pins. And then like, everyone can do this. So not to say the other exercises aren't good, but you need to have this in your shoulder routine 100%. All right, triceps pretty much very on par with everybody when it comes to getting the most amount of muscle recruitment Great stretch, full range of motion, progressive overload, easy to do. The overhead tricep extension seems to be king when it comes to just overall tricep development. All the other exercises are good too, but when it comes to getting everything you need to get out of your tricep exercise, doing overhead tricep extensions is going to be it. So make sure you add this to your tricep day, your chest day, your arm day, whatever it is. Now, to make it easy for you guys to understand how to do this, don't be scared to raise this thing up to around chest height. Why? Well, check it out. When I go to do this, I just gotta flip around here, and I'm still getting a good stretch from here. Keep my elbows tight, a nice stretch from the top, and pulling, and all the way down. Elbows to the sky, nice stretch, an extension, controlling it down, stretch, an extension, and then when you're done, there you go. Okay, now we're reaching calf part of our arms and the forearm part of our legs. We just say calves are the forearms of your legs and forearms the calves of your arms. Regardless, the best way to do calves is in the leg press. Simple. And why? Well, check it out. When I press up right away, all I have to do is sit down and I let gravity push my foot into that stretch position and then all the way up. And I have a great amount of leverage that's created from the bench. I don't have to worry about loading my spine. I can focus on just letting the weight push me down into position, stretching my calves, then full extension to the top, and then riding it down with a good negative, nice stretch. And when it comes to calves, the biggest part of this that's gonna help with growth is letting it stretch at the bottom more than just really coming all the way to the top here. So if anything, get yourself in a leg press machine, sit down, lock yourself in, and then let that weight push you right into that good stretch position, stretch it out, actively stretch up to the top, and stretch it again. So best exercises for the calves for our arms or forearms is gonna be wrist curls. Now we can do them with the dumbbell, we can do them with a barbell standing up, we can do them on a bench if you want, but the easiest way to do this is by just sitting in a seated cable row, put yourself back, chest nice and tall, and then just gonna curl your wrists right in. And just curl in. And you can do this right to failure every single time, and not even have to rest that long between sets because your forearms will recover fairly quick. So if you're really trying to work your forearms, this is the best exercise to do to make your forearms grow. Last but not least, guys, abs. Best exercise for training abs is basically lifting your lower extremities up, making sure your hips curl or flex all the way in. So the best way to do these, if you can't do a full leg lifts, if you can't come all the way up like this, then knees are gonna do the same thing, but we wanna make sure we're pulling our knees all the way to our chest because we want our hips to curl or flex underneath to really work our abs. And make sure we're doing that, breathing out every contraction. Or any exercise you can do at any level where you're lifting your lower body up and making sure your hips curl or flex underneath is gonna be the best exercise for abs. So pick whatever level that you can do it, whether you're on the floor doing leg lifts and your hips are curling up, or you're doing the Roman chairs, the same thing. Just make sure we're flexing our hips on the way up, basically curling it in and breathing out every contraction. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Guys, listen, these are some of the exercises that we found out are the best. It doesn't mean that is the ultimate best. Pick the exercise that you connect with the most. You can definitely get a full range of motion, you can progressive overload, and you enjoy to do it. That's the most important thing. Anyways, for more videos like this, guys, subscribe to the channel, like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.